It's my pleasure to welcome David Garwood back again. He's still visiting from New Zealand. I'm not sure if he's going to go back or not. We're glad to have him. He is a evidential medium. Traveled around through the UK and the US a little bit now. New Zealand, calls his home in New Zealand. That's where his family is. Sons. That's where his wife has made her final resting place. And that's where he calls home. Raised partly in the UK. We're trying to Americanize him a little bit, but we're not having much luck with that. But he's here to give us a talk today. So please welcome David Garwood.
I came with some address in my mind, but I'm not going to give it. I had 2 or 3 there, but I'm still not going to give you one of those. Stephen mentioned Mary Baker Eddy, Harvey rather. And in the 1800s, Mary did something which I've just done. And she did it in a time when there was horses and steam trains. And she came and went to Midwestern states. And the story goes that she got there very late in the evening. It was getting dusk. And as it was getting dusk, she got off the train, the only woman to get off the train. There was no men getting off. She got off at this stop. There was a bit of a waiting room, but there was no one there to meet her. She had this huge trunk and a little bag. And this trunk was quite massive. The station master said to Mary, there is a hotel down the street. I could get a buggy and take you down there. And she said, no. She said, someone will come and pick me up. The Spirit says so. And the story goes, she sat there for 2 or 3 hours and it got dark. But there was a slight little oil lamp burning, right? And all of a sudden she heard some cartwheels. And a gentleman got off the cart and said, are you Mrs. Baker? And she said, yes, I'm Mrs. Baker. She got onto that car, right? And he said, leave your trunk there, right? He said, it will be perfectly safe. He said, you need a meal and you need some clothes and I'm taking you home. So finally she got to this massive great house, right, and was brought in, and there was people there and a servant took a bag. She went up and got refreshed, and then she came down, right, and people were there to welcome her in this big house. Well, that's not too similar to the story which I've got. I came to America. I had emailed some people, or I'd emailed Casadona, so I thought, well, they know I'm coming. I stayed the night in a hotel, and with a huge big bag and another Paul bag, right, I arrived at Casadona. And as I arrived there, it was 9 o'clock in the morning. It was a very hot day. There was no one there to meet me, no one at all. And by 10 o'clock, Peggy came past to sign on the board, and she said, saw me in a bit of distress with this case. And she said, who are you? What are you doing? And I explained to her. And then along came Dr. Thomas and explained this to me. And then there was a bit of an argument going on. Oh, it wasn't an argument, it was just a discussion. So I finished up, right. They didn't know I was coming. They didn't know this, so I went across to the hotel. But what I want to say, it's so similar, because I had met people who immediately took me in hand and helped me along, right? So where I'm here today, the next thing is Steve came and things started to happen quite well. So there is not too much difference between the stories which we are telling, between Mrs. Baker and myself, right? How people came to our rescue who we did not know, and how we trusted, the main thing in spirit. I trusted totally, but things were going to be okay. Spirit was there. Spirit was going to open the doors for me, which they have done, which finished up, and I'm here now. So I wanted to tell you these stories do happen to people, because it's happened to me now. I also want to talk about the song which you sung earlier on, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, in the Yellow Brick Road. As I sat there, immediately I felt the love and warmth of Spirit come into me. But I felt again, but when I first saw that in the 1950s or whenever it was, right, the child within me was reverted them, and the child is in us now. And I don't know when you people sung that, when you sung it, if you felt that same feeling, that there's this love within us, this innocency. And we go through our lives, right, building up which a series of experiences, which the experiences which we build are positive and negative. We build these experiences up, and as we build these experiences up, each one of us, we start to grow inside. We start to grow, we start to expand, and we start to go on what you would call a lifetime journey. My guides hate me using the word journey because it's a journey of experiences. So it's the experiences what count. It's the experiences what make us who we are and what we are. And if we can bring that life, that childlike magic back within our lives, right, it's well and good. It's really quite wonderful to feel that we're loved and we can love. And as the story of the Yellow Brick Road goes along, she meets these three characters, the Tin Man, right, the Straw Man, and also the Lion, what needed courage. But I think there's a very spiritual part of this. Right, the courage we need. We all need courage at some times. And we're all like the Lion Men at sometimes, right? We haven't got a heart and we're fearful of all sorts of things. And today, right, throughout the world, everybody is fearful of a number of things. We're fearful of not being able to afford our house, our life, to earn our livings, and there's just that fear within us. But we've got to keep going on, we've got to keep living day to day. And it doesn't matter how bad or how worse it gets. We've all got to be that man, that line with that heart. So we've got to have that line within us. It's always surprising me on the tarot card, the strength card, right, where you've got this, normally a young female, right, with her arms around the line. And she's putting a garland around its neck. And this garland is a garland of flowers, a garland of love. So we've got to still have that passion within ourselves to carry on. And, you know, we go through life like this. And then we've got the Tin Man. Was frightened of going rusty. No one to care for him. No one to clean him. No one to oil him up. You know, this story goes on all the time. It's just like real life. Right? Unless we've got someone there to look for us, help for us, to earn money for us, to cook for us, to look after our children, we are missing the point of life. Each one of those characters represented a normal person with the feelings which we have within us. And the last one, the Straw Man. He was terrified of fire. What it could do with him, what's the name, it could burn him up and he would no longer exist. But he got over that fear of fire in the same way as we get over the fear of fire, or being hurt constantly, daily. So it takes us really something very special, right, that comes to, as you know, right, with the red shoes and that, right, she learned to dance her way down, along with them, dance her way down the yellow brick road before they met this wonderful wizard. Now this wonderful wizard is represented by a number of things, right? Everybody thought he had all the answers. Everybody thought he had all the answers to all the questions. So they stand in front of the screen and ask him, and he would turn around and give them rewards and this, that, and the other. But everybody had the answers. Now we do this today with the people we vote in our leaderships. We expect our leaders to have all the answers, regardless if they're a president of a nation, or a president of a company, or a mayor, or something like that, or even the chairman of a board, a committee. We always think they've got the answers. There's something special, we elected them. But it's us who are special. We elected them on their processes and their trust. And just like the yellow brick road, when they walked behind the screen, they saw the whole thing was a hoax. And they had to deal with it. Right. Now this happens with us within our own lives. Right. We expect when we elect people and everything else from to turn up to do this. But let's stop and think it. They're only human beings like me and you. And that human being within us, right, is infallible. It cannot say other promises which were made prior to this person, that person, plus all the promises they made. So we're all fallible, right, to making mistakes. So don't be so harsh on these people like mayors and that when they can't come through with what you think they should, because they've all got other stops along the line. But the other thing I'd like to talk about is Mother Earth. Mother Earth is just like us, you know. We've got veins, we've got blood supplies, we've got electrical currents going for us left, right and centre. We're made up of carbon. She's just like us. But what we seem to forget about our planet is, the one thing we really forget about our planet is, we are part of it. If you like, we're the itchies on the outside of it. The ones we want to scratch. The Aussie bikes. Right. And the planet has got exactly what we've got in it. It's got arteries of water running through it. It's got lakes. It's got a supply of energy. It's got a fire within its stomach, just like you have. A fire of light, that living thing, and we're part and parcel of it. But we seem to neglect the point of view. With the planet itself, right, we take everything and give nothing in return. Nothing. We just take. Just take it for yourself. If you were the planet, how would you feel? If someone kept taking from you constantly, not repairing you, not putting anything back, how would you feel? How would you react? But we then, as spiritualists in every church in the country, regardless of what religion, we always ask for a great spirit or God or whatever we call it, Allah, right, to bring the planet back in balance. Stop and think of what you're asking. When you're asking to bring the planet back in balance, the only way it can do it is by volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, rebuilding itself. And we, as human beings, we're just like the insects, the ants on the planet. It doesn't see us, it's got no feelings, it's got no, I'm going to hurt you or I'm going to do this. Right, it's just its action. There's the little tiny story about a scorpion going across on the frog's back. And when it stings the frog, I won't go, you must have all heard the story. When it stings the frog's back, when it turns around and says, it was my nature. But it's the planet's nature too, of rebuilding itself. It holds no ill feelings or anything else towards anybody. It only does one thing. It loves all of us. It's we're part of it. And it's just like the Spirit. It loves all of us too. So I'd like you to think about the way we treat this planet, even in your own backyard. And then encourage everybody else to treat it with the respect and all of it. Thank you for listening. God bless you all.